Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Johanna. For those of you who are new here, welcome. For those of you who are returning, welcome back. A great big shout out to my channel members for supporting my channel. Thank you. All right, so in this installment of my coloring book collection 2023, we're going to go with the majority of my hardback books. I actually have a few more, but they're going to be cataloged in a different section in this coloring book collection. So this comprises of Klara Markova, Maria Trolle, and Hanna Karlzon, and this is all still from bookshelf number 1. So let me get organized and I'll be right back. All right, so the first book in my hardback book collection, again, predominantly this is most of them. This is Klara Markova's Tenderful Enchantments. I did buy this second hand and I got this from KP Colors. Any of the channels that I've mentioned, I will go ahead and link in the description box below. She was selling 2 of her Klara Markova books. She realized it wasn't a style that she wanted and I was happy to pick it up secondhand. Now, I only completed 1 page in here and that's the only thing that I'm going to be tracking. I'll show you that at the end of this video, but I did mark all of the pages that she had completed and I felt no need to take them out. So the first page that she had completed was this one right here. And I believe all of the pages that she either completed or worked on had sort of a similar color palette, because this next one, or maybe I'm a liar, because I all thought they were kind of blue and yellow. But this next one here is something that she completed as well. And I asked her if, when she was putting it together to send it to me, if she could autograph it, and she did. So that was really cool. Maybe that's why I thought they were all in blues and yellows, because this also is in blues and yellows. This is something that she completed. And then this was a whip that she had started. And I will not be touching this. This to me is part of KP's collection in here, and I feel no need to do anything else to this. But the one that I did was this one right here, and I don't know if you can notice, I'll try to edit when I'm doing the editing portion of this, is all of these little blueberries look like eyeballs to me, and that's how I plan to color all of these little blueberries in this book. Klara Markova's artwork is very specific, and I would, of course, if I were someone who collected and I had the money and the shelving, I would definitely love all of her books. But it isn't a book that I gravitate towards. Clearly, I've only got 1 completed page in here, and it is a bit quirky. Having a bush of colorful eyeballs actually is very fun to me, but it's not necessarily one of my favorite artists, but I'm glad that I have at least 1 book from her. But that is Tenderful Enchantments by Klara Markova. Now I do have Luna from Maria Trolle. This was the very first Maria Trolle book that I purchased. I only have 2, and although some of them I do actually like, I haven't colored a lot in these, and so, you know, because space is a premium, I think the 2 is probably where I'm going to leave it at. But as I was going through this and checking off my pages, I realized that I actually have more coloring pages in here than I thought. Now, when I am coloring pages throughout the month and I tab them just to make it easier to edit at the end of the month, I always tab completed pages in purple. So any other color that you see means something else to me. It either means it was someone else's work, or it's a whip, or in this case, my completed pages. And I say that because I don't plan on taking these out, so that when I do this collection video again, I don't have to keep thumbing through my coloring books. Now I am considering this a completed page, so that's 1. This is 2 and 3. And these were done with pencils. And I think I did not even pick up my first alcohol marker set until maybe June or July of 2021. So up and through that point, all of my work was all either water-based marker, which I did have because I had a lot of Tombows and mild liners, I still do, or pencil work. I do have these. These were not completed together. This was a buddy color with Philomena over on Instagram. And then this was for a find in color for Water from Olga. So I did this one first, and then I did this one because they're both water pages. The color palettes to me were going to be very similar, although I did try to bring in some of this like maroony color in here, as well as the orange. But I mean, I'm not a huge fan of coloring water anyway, but yeah, those are two completed pages that were not done at the same time. This, I believe, was my very first buddy color with Emma Colors 2020. Back in May 2021. And I remember that I had put some satin glazing down on this, and I hated the way the pencils worked, and I was so tempted to buy another book. And I never really have that kind of thought process. If I mess something up, I mess something up. But I want to say this was my very first buddy color with her, like legit one. We did have a color by color one together, but I was so nervous approaching her. I don't know why. She's amazing. That I didn't want to complete a page that was so janky because I had decided to test out a new medium without having tested it beforehand. But I do actually like how it came out overall. But yeah, this one was quite stressful. I do have another one that I did with Erica of Elm Colors in an Erie book that'll come up down the line in a collection, that I did the same thing where I put satin glazing down. So it must have been May 2021. And I didn't realize how it worked. I don't know that I laid it down or laid it too thick. I don't know. But whatever it was, the medium that I was using on it, I didn't like how it started, but I eventually did end up liking how it ended up. Yes, I see this and it looks fairly straightforward, but this actually was quite traumatic for me. It's funny now, but at the time, I mean, I was really contemplating my life choices. This here also was not colored at the same time. This was done in June 2021. This was done in March 2022. This was a buddy color with my friend Just Being Beth. And this was Olga's find in color of Kid. Again, because I finished this one first, the colors, I kind of wanted to make it look like a 2-page spread, although I don't write down colors. Sometimes I'll write down mediums, like this one, I used Neocolor 2s, Holbein's, Pentel Doom Hybrid Metallics, Wink of Stella, and A&R Glitter Gel Pens. This one, I wrote down nothing. But either way, I don't write color combos by way of pens or pencils or whatever. I'm not interested in that. I can either make it look similar or it won't. I mean, it's kind of the fun, right? And then the final page was just a quick one that I did for Olga. And it was this one right here. This one was for finding color of a seahorse. This was the only thing on the page, and so I added the quote, as I tend to do if I'm trying to fill up space without having to do an actual background. And it was a very quick color. I don't know why, but Olga Rani's weekly and monthly prompts really drive a lot of my coloring. And it's not even so much because of the gallery, although I do love seeing her weekly gallery. It's not because I post to Instagram, because that has been weak sauce. It's just, I don't know, it helps me do a scavenger hunt through my coloring books to kind of focus on choosing something for that particular week or month. So you'll hear her name a lot in these collection videos. But that's all of my completed pages for Luna from Maria Trolle. My only other Maria Trolle book is this. Now, this came as a misprint by way of the cover. So this is the front of the cover, or the book. This is the back of the book. But as far as I can tell, the entire insides of the book are fine. So I felt no need to send this back. In fact, it makes me kind of happy that mine is a bit janky on the outside, because it makes me smile, right? There's nothing wrong with this other than a misprint on the cover. Now this one, I actually have 2 completed pages. This one, I think I had tested out my new Neocolors 2. And if you ever hear me talk about Neocolors, I only have a set of Neocolor 2s. I don't have the original Neocolor 1s, but I don't always make that distinction. But yes, these were Neocolor 2s and some Pentel Dual Erogetin, Prisma, Wink of Stella, Tombow Water, the Maria Trolle, the Hanna Karlzon, the Tenderful Enchantments. If I can, I'm probably going to try to keep the other side as pristine as possible. Although I know that there are certain books that I don't gravitate towards as much, and so if I feel the need to do an alcohol marker work, then I'll do that. But when I come into these books, I already have the mindset that they are going to be either water-based marker, paint, or pencil, or a combination thereof. And then this one right here is the only other completed page. This was done in September 2021, and I love how vibrant and bright it is. I believe, yeah, it's not alcohol markers, but I believe a majority of this was done with water-based marker and then just some pencil work on top of that. I try to do her skin all in pencils because of the streakiness of water-based markers. But a lot of the foliage here, that's all done in Tombows or Prismas or Crayolas. Yeah. But that's my second completed page out of this one, Flora by Maria Trolle. This one I picked up in August 2022, and I actually have not touched, but I am hoping to complete this page right here before the end of January. It is currently January the 29th, and this will actually be twofold. My Hannah K treasure hunt prompt for January was star, and then Olga just released her weekly prompt of hat, and so this actually would cover both of those. And so that's, I always like when I can hit two birds with one stone when I'm coloring a page. Plus this would also count towards Labella and T's Color Your Hoard. Again, whether I post it to Instagram or not, that's actually not even an issue for me. But that is Tales from the Witch's Cottage. This is Grains of Gold by Hanna Karlzon. This one and the next one I'm going to show you, I purchased from Amazon January 2022 when she had come out with the news that she was having some really severe medical issues. And if you know, you know. And so I wanted to do a little bit of support and just purchase some of her books. So I purchased this one. I believe this is a compilation of some of her other books and then includes some new drawings. And so I do consider this a completed page, and I wanted to test out some pencils, and they actually worked really well, although of course I didn't write anything down. And then the other one I completed is this right here. This was a buddy color with my friend Poet. It was also a Finding Color prompt of Swan for Olga, and I kind of had an idea and I kind of didn't know how to execute it. So I think my background could have been done better. I got lazy when I was coloring with the white acrylic paint. The dual hybrid on top of the white acrylic paint kind of just sinks into it. So it's a very bright page, absolutely. And I don't hate it. I don't know that I hate anything that I've ever spent time on. Because if I start spending time on something and I don't feel like I can save it, or there's at least a very funny story in my head, then I'm going to stop. I've got too many hobbies and things I want to do to waste time. Or if anything, I'll walk away. So I am glad I completed this, but yeah, the one that she did was absolutely gorgeous. But this here, there was a vision. I couldn't tell you what it was, but that's my completed page out of this, Grains of Gold by Hanna Karlzon. This is the other book I purchased during that same time, January 2022. And this one I actually only have this page right here. This I was really happy with the look of because this little gemstone right here, I did that in Prismacolors. And Prismas work really well in this book, the way of being able to kind of smush and blend the colors together. And the rest of it was quickly colored with dual hybrid metallics. And there's maybe some slight ghosting, but no bleed through. So both of those mediums, well, I mean, definitely the pencils, but the dual hybrid also works rather well in this as well. But I don't have anything else completed in this book. This one here, I believe this is Tales of the Forest Kingdom by Hanna Karlzon. I picked this up from Book Depository, and I did, I think, like 1 or 2 orders in 2021 and 22, but I don't actually purchase from them anymore. They have free shipping, which is amazing, but it takes forever and a day, and I don't like dealing with that. So if at all possible, I just try to wait till it gets to Amazon, or I will check out Lyrica, or I will check out Amazon Japan. Any one of those, I will see if they have that same book, and I'd rather purchase from them. I have several completed pages in here. This one, I wanted to test out pencils, but also I wanted to see what it looked like if I whited out some of the lines. And so I wanted to look at them side by side to see which one I preferred. This one definitely looks more ethereal, kind of ghosty, and this one is just more in your face. And I kind of like the effect on both, but I also like seeing that effect on the page just so that it gives me ideas when I'm looking at doing other work in this book. This one is one of the few that, I mean, it's done, so there's that. But I was using my Inktense pencils, and I didn't know how to use them. I had started on the background first, and I really don't like how I did the background. And because I really dislike the background, the rest of this was just like, meh. So, I mean, it's not a horrible page, and it's definitely colorful, if anything. I do actually use my Inktense paint pans a lot more than I use my pencils, but I do know how to use my pencils better. They definitely work better in smaller spaces, not necessarily for big backgrounds like this, or you have to be patient and do multiple layers, and I have no patience. So that's just something I had to learn over time. But yeah, this was a buddy color with my girl Poet. This one was done after this one, so I did want the pages to kind of work with each other. This is probably one of my favorite Hanna Karlzon completed pages. This was a buddy color with my friend Emma Colors. If you know, you know, but this is my favorite because this bug is pooping stars, and that's all I ever see, either in my rendition, her rendition, or any of the dozens of renditions I've seen. All I see is a bug pooping stars. And so when I colored her, and this was for another one of Olga Rani's prompts of headdress, then I just kind of tried to replicate the colors on both pages. Again, I don't write things down, but I mean, I can see this, and I knew there was distress ink on the back. Same here. I know I used the darker blues in the Inktense pencils. Done with that, and then there was some gold on this page, so bring it over here. Yeah, that's kind of how I work pages. I don't get too bogged down in the details if I have to have the exact same colors. This definitely looks like, if you didn't know, that if I didn't work them at the same time, I worked on them at a very similar pace. My next completed page is this one right here, and I put black acrylic on the background, and because of that, I think this really glows. This is another instance where I knew what I wanted. I wanted this bug to look like it was glowing, but I don't know that my transition of color was the best use of the colors that I chose. I think I could have gotten a better effect if I'd done like yellow and then orange, then pink, and then just a very hint of red right there versus such a quick transition between this yellow and orange and then this color here. Again, I like the way it looks. It just, the execution of it, I don't think is as good as you could have seen. I color to unwind and distress. I don't color to learn art theory or color theory or to level up a skill. That's not why I do it. And so something like this makes me think of what I had in mind, and I kind of have an idea of the next time, but also I don't consider something like this a waste of my time. I know for some people, they'll just keep plugging at it and plugging at it, plugging at it. Once I find I have fulfilled either my fun quotient or my patient quotient, I'm done. And this is a completed page for me. This one right here, when I did the fairy, I wasn't too keen. I couldn't get a really good coverage on the acrylic paint that I was using. I don't know if I should have watered it down or if I should have put on thicker or if it was my brush. I don't know what it was, but I didn't like the patchiness of this. But then when I added the kind of plaid background in the similar colors, and this is just a happy planner sticker, then this became infinitely more interesting to me than just having the white background on there as well. So this to me was actually just a happy surprise that, yeah, I actually kind of like the look of this now versus when it was just blotchy and just this fairy. And this is another one of those pages that is probably one of my favorites. This was a buddy color with my friend Dan over, well, okay, it was Calligralicious, but I think it's Coloring with Dan now. But this was back in, I want to say February 2022, because I think that's why I chose the color palette. Now, unfortunately, whatever I used bled through, and that's the hair. And I don't know if that was Inktense and then Prismas on top. I don't know. But yeah, that page isn't ruined necessarily. I guess I could come in with gouache. But, I mean, I've got so many Hanna Karlzon pages anyway. If it happens, because that wasn't my intention, but if it happens, I'm not going to cry over it. But I do really like the look of this, and I made her into a little vampire, and I just love the color palette. I just love everything about this. This is one of my favorite Hanna Karlzon pages. But that's my last completed page out of this, Tales of the Forest Kingdom. And then my final book in my Hanna Karlzon collection. And honestly, that's probably going to be it, although, you know, I say that about a lot of things, but I don't know that there's any out there that I absolutely have to have. But this was an amazing birthday gift from Sarah over at Chronic Coloring Down Under. And this is, I believe, Tales Amongst the City in the Stars or something like that. And I've completed a number of pages in here because in 2022, I did have a monthly coloring challenge. And so this isn't going to be in the order that I colored them. It's just the order from the top of the book. So this one was done, I want to say October, because I wrote down the mediums. Yeah, October. But this I did in Halloween colors, and there's acrylic on the background. There's some acrylic there, and then I think that's just water-based markers and Prismas. And then the next group buddy color page that I completed was this one right here. I believe this might have been the first one. No, this was the November page, so there must be August and September, because I got this for my birthday. So shouldn't I have more pages? Anyway, sorry. But I liked her. And then in December, yeah, I did this one here, and I will try to insert a page. This was not a portrait page. This was actually just flowers and leaves. But when I was editing these look like eyelashes to me, and I kind of built this out. And this is another one of those that's probably one of my favorite completed Hanna Karlzon pages, because I think this just looks so striking. Okay, that's why, because these two were not done at the same time. So this one was done in August. This one was done in September. So this was the very first one that I completed, and I really love the look of this. And this is the moth that's tinkling. If you know, you know. And there's an acrylic background, and what I had done was did some just pencil marking with, I think, some Prismas, and then did some glaze on top of that. And I actually really like the effect of that right there. And then this one we had done the next month, and again, I generally like pages to kind of look like they were done at the same time. And in fact, when I was doing the framing here, I was coloring some of the elements here. So it did help me keep a little bit of cohesiveness, and then just bringing some of the same color elements from side to side. But those are my completed pages out of this one. And let me get my coloring book journal. This is my A5 Maisie Lane Co. journal. It is now used predominantly for my coloring book hobby, and I didn't show this because I only just put this together this morning. I am planning to keep track of all of the videos that I film in this collection, and this may span over a few months just because they're going to be not a lot of books per video, so that means there's going to be a lot of videos because I'm only 2/3 of the way of bookshelf 1, but I'm also going to segment it by the number of books featured in the video and when I post it. I've also marked all of the completed pages all the way through the end of December 2022. I thought that'd be a good mark. And then I've got 23, 24, 25, and 26. Because I have so many pages in here, I foresee I'll be able to use this over a span of years. And then at the end of 2023, or more than likely the beginning of 2024, then I'll either write the number of pages completed there or like +2, +4, how many new pages that I've completed. That's why I've kept all of the tabs in there, so I know what I've already marked out as I'm going through this in the new year. We'll see. I'm saying that now on camera, so if I need to refer back to this video, I know what it is that I had intentions for, because of course there's no notes here. And I know this is going to take several pages, and so I'll just do this slowly and methodically. So as I'm filming, mark it down, take my tally, so at the end of all of my completed pages, videos, and collection, I'll actually be able to tell you my total completed pages up and through the end of 2022, and that'll give me a good benchmark for the following years. I'd love to know what you guys think. Not sure what's going on with my voice, but that is it for me for now, and as always, aloha.